Glorious Sunday to you all. Welcome to this episode of Ready for You Professional Wrestling. Of course, I'm Shawn with my tag team partner, Ashlee. And what a week in AEW wrestling. I myself went to Dynamite Wednesday night, had a great time. And I'm sorry if you try to play a drinking game, try and find me, because literally I was on camera all night. So, my bad. Ashlee, I know you.
No. I was gonna say, saw you like right off the bat.
I gotta say, great show. We're gonna get into the results from Dynamite, and right off the top here, we have new AEW Tag Team Champions as the Hurt Syndicate. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin defeated Private Party in one of the two best matches on the card for Dynamite. Actually, I felt sorry for Private Party because Knoxville was Hurt Syndicate country, and Bobby Lashley should move here and become mayor.
Yeah, it's hard to deny how great they've been. I don't want to delve too much into it here because I know we have a question about it a little later, but I feel like it's a double-edged sword, but this is great for Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, two guys who you absolutely cannot waste at this point in their career.
Very true. They are two of the best talents that Tony Khan has gotten from the WWE and moved over to AEW. And really, you need to hit this while the iron's still hot, and them together as a tag team. Hopefully, we'll spark this tag team division back up, because we learned that Private Party's been tag team champions since October, and this was like literally their fourth title defense.
Yeah, it didn't seem like there was much of a plan in place post championship win. I'm hoping that AEW will give Private Party the chance to turn it around or work with them on the booking, but yeah, it's tough to see them lose after kind of not really being involved in anything, especially being so heavily involved with the storyline with the Bucks leading up to the win.
True. So the second match that we got to see on Dynamite was, well, I want to say, was the replacement match for Nick Wayne versus Samoa Joe, because they were unable to reach Knoxville due to travel and weather issues. So we get Swerve Strickland versus AR Fox. And my reaction was, heck yeah, this is a great match. Now, I had some idiot 2 or 3 rows up behind me going like, AR Fox, you never won a match. I'm going, yeah, because he's a heel.
Plus, like, how are you going to complain about an AR Fox versus Swerve Strickland match? Their history and everything that we've already seen outside of AEW, and since they've both arrived in AEW, come on.
And we get Ricochet come down, try to interfere in this match, and Prince Nana chases him to the back with a steel freaking pipe.
I'm loving this for Ricochet. This character is kind of perfect.
You know, it's interesting because he came in, I thought everybody was going to be cool with Ricochet and he was going to be a babyface, but he came in and the crowd wasn't totally warm to him, so he just fed into it. And this, like, evil mastermind version of Ricochet is very, very interesting to watch.
Yeah, he's very, like, deliberate, and he's so out of his mind. I love seeing how unhinged he's becoming, and I'm curious to see this match coming up with Swerve that he's got coming up, and how he fares on the other side of that match.
It's going to be interesting in 2 weeks when they get to Atlanta for that match. Swerve Strickland versus Ricochet at Center Stage in Atlanta, which should be a very dang good match. Now, we did get a very short Heyman Adam Page match. This came after MJF came out, cut a promo on Jeff Jarrett. Heyman Adam Page comes down to the ring, and he basically tells MJF to kick dust, pound sand, get out of my ring. So MJF said Balor's they're such as the better form of Balor, so he leaves. And we get a local talent versus Heyman Adam Page. This match doesn't last more than about a minute and a half. We don't even get a buttshot lariat. We just get a regular lariat, and Heyman wins.
Yeah, a very quick, decisive match for Hangman. Seems like we're teasing a little bit of Hangman and MJF in the future.
And after the match, we get the culmination of Christopher Daniels versus Heyman Adam Page, as Daniels comes out, confronts Hangman again, and says that due to the violence from that match we saw last week, doctors have informed Christopher Daniels that he can't wrestle no more. So he is no longer wrestling. And it kind of shook Heyman Adam Page. So he's still kind of a face and a heel at the same time. He's really in that tweener role. And I'm really enjoying this kind of demented, not sure he's a face, not sure he's a heel Heyman Adam Page.
Yeah, honestly, I loved this segment. And I do love this because we've seen flashes of this before from Hangman, especially and most prominently, I think, after the match with Swerve, the cage match, where he sort of looked like he was going to come back down to the ring after the match and kind of caught himself being like, oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? Like, he seems to be struggling with how bad he's become. And I like this because him and Christopher Daniels have so much history together. So to see him be visibly like blindsided by what he had done was like, I think, just a great moment in this kind of character development that Hangman's been going through.
Now, we did get the second in the series of matches between Jamie Hayter and Julia Hart. And live, it was a fine match, but I thought part of the crowd wasn't totally invested into Jamie Hayter and Julia Hart. I feel like Knoxville was more of a casual wrestling fan crowd instead of it was one hardcore AEW crowds where they would go along with singing Julia's song, that kind of thing. So this match took a while to get warmed up, but the crowd got into it towards the end, and the finish was fine. And Jamie Hayter beats Julia Hart, and then cuts a similar promo to the same one Cope did for Buddy Matthews, and as Adam Copeland Cope did for Brody King, and it leads you to believe that Malachi Black is on his way back to WWE, probably.
Yeah, the speculation has been there for a while. I mean, it does seem a little more concrete now from the posts we've seen and just all of this stuff with the House of Black, former House of Black now. Um, I mean, genuinely, maybe I think it could be for the best. I feel like House of Black was a little bit floundering with the storylines they were running. And I don't know where Malachi especially would have gone from here. He's taken so many prominent losses after kind of like instigating a rivalry that AEW like made him look bad with some of the booking. I'll say. That's a Tony Khan problem. I'm interested to see if we can pull it out with the other two members though, because we've seen Brody King be booked very well. And it seems we're going to see Buddy Matthews be booked prominently better now. As we said, like on Collision, kind of out and out challenging Kazuchika Okada, which is crazy for a guy we never really saw featured from the House of Black.
I know it's going to be interesting to see if that match gets picked up. But after this match between Jamie Hayter and Julia Hart, Jamie does the promo. She also says, whenever you're ready for that third match, I'll give it to you. So there's going to be a future third match in this trilogy, and I can't wait to see what these two ladies cook up yet. And I feel like they should be two of the most premier female talents going forward in AEW in 2025.
Yeah, I'm wondering when they're going to pull out that third match.
Okay, so we get to our main event on Dynamite. And dude, this thing was a banger. It's Pat versus Cope, Adam Copeland, whatever you want to call Edge. And Knoxville was Team Cope. And Pat just loved the fact that we were booing him out of the building.
I still love him though. I'll boo him, but I love him. Yeah, I mean, first of all, Pac is always going to have a good match. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. Copeland's had nothing but good matches, in my opinion, since joining AEW. Uh, just another match I'm sure using to further along Copeland versus Moxley, which I'm sure is coming up soon. I'm sure it seems maybe they are going to hold out for Revolution or maybe Grand Slam.
I get a feeling that we're heading more to Revolution as they slowly drag this story out. As we see the Death Riders come down towards the end of this match, and after Cope gets the victory, they jump him like the Death Riders always do. And Ashlee, who comes out to make the save here but Mr. Bang Bang, Jay freaking White. I got to see Jay freaking White in person.
He's our boy. I'm happy he's not gone from this picture. Juice Robinson's still on the shelf. Still nothing I've seen on the Gun Boys. I don't know if you've seen anything yourself, but I haven't seen any reports about them returning or anything. Jay White belongs in the title picture, so this is exactly the spot he needs to be in right now.
And we need baby faces to face off against the Death Riders. Because, I mean, really, the Death Riders have been running amok here for the last 3 to 4 months. And really, we haven't seen Team AEW get their act together yet. So maybe finally Adam Copeland Cope is finally going to build a coalition.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do something because with Darby Allin going to be gone, he was the like the heart and soul of the AEW side, and with him being out, Ospreay onto Don Callis' family. Everyone else has kind of moved on to other things. DG's with the TNT Championship. Orange Cassidy's been out for a bit. It seems like Team AEW is going to have to start over.
So we're going to move over to Collision. Now, this was from Jacksonville, Florida. And me personally, I was personally happy that my Knoxville Coliseum was fully enclosed because they announced that it was 45 degrees at the start of Collision tonight. And we get Nick Wayne versus Samoa Joe. And I guarantee you, if you ask Nick Wayne now, he wishes his fight was canceled again.
I'm most definitely sure, and I'm sure Mother Wayne agrees.
Because the end of this match saw Samoa Joe clothesline this dude into next week. Muscle Buster 1, 2, 3. And no, the patriarchy didn't kind of come into the ring to attack Samoa Joe because Samoa Joe had Hook and Shibata in his corner.
Yeah, and genuinely, can you think of two better guys to have in your corner?
I know I've been on here like the last couple weeks going like this is like the never-ending feud that keeps going on and on with Hook and the patriarchy. But if we get matches like this with Samoa Joe and going after Nick Wayne, and we go into like 6-man tag matches, I'm perfectly fine with it. It'll be cool.
I'm so excited to see where Nick Wayne goes coming out of the patriarchy. He's so young, and the talent he already has, and working on his character development with somebody like Christian, like he's going to be such a force this coming year.
You know, they were teasing at one point at the end of 2024 of him splitting away from the patriarchy because Kip was the more favored son, and there was a little distinction there. It's kind of gone away for a bit. I wonder if we're going to revisit this as we get closer to the time that Christian Cage cashes in that contract.
I'd like to see it.
So we move on to what I think is my favorite match of the night is Okada versus Commander, your Continental Champion versus the Ring of Honor TV Champion, champion versus champion with no titles on the line. But this match was entertaining because it starts out with Okada trying to do the handshake disingenuously. Commander kind of calls this BS, sidesteps him, and we're off to the races. Now, this match ends with Commander making one too many attempts for a high risk move, and Okada catches him. Rainmaker 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I mean, not the most unexpected win for Okada, but I mean, Commander has had such a year this year in Ring of Honor and AEW. I love to see him in this spot. I want to see him against, it's. I've talked about the Ring of Honor stuff being on AEW, but Commander, man, he's so good. I want him everywhere.
Okay, so we move on to the trios match of the evening. We get the Undisputed Kingdom versus Daniel Garcia, Cool Hand Luke, McNard. And this was a fun, entertaining match. And honestly, it was a babyface versus babyface match. And I was kind of surprised because I thought maybe we start seeing the Undisputed Era at more heelish, but we're not there yet.
No, not at all. Nothing but a respect matchup here. And I'm just happy to see the boys back. Cool Hand back and Daddy Magic. I'm hoping, like, we're talking about the tag team division. You need even tag teams like 2.0 guys. Like, they're talented, they're funny, they're solid in the ring. They're a great addition, and it's good to have them back.
Oh, you put them with a Hurt Syndicate? That'd be a fun, entertaining match.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we get to the face-to-face between Toni Storm and Mariah May. And this was perfectly done because they literally flip roles here as we see Toni Storm come down to the ring and say, Mariah May, you're my idol. Da, 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 da. She's literally doing the promo that Mariah May did like a year ago. And Mariah May is having none of it. She's calling the BS on this. And she attacks Toni Storm, but this is her mistake because she slams her head into the canvas. And guess who wakes up? It's time with Toni Storm.
I loved every single minute of this. This was the definition of like I felt like a kid watching this. I was like giddy. I was so excited. I saw some people complaining about the predictability of Toni Storm winning the gauntlet match leading to the match in Australia. But this is one of those cases where this is about the journey. This is about everything that kind of comes before the match. The match is just going to be the cherry on top for this. I love everything. These two women have been outstanding for over a year now, and I'm just ready to let them take me wherever we're going to go the next few weeks.
Exactly. This is a year plus build to finish. I hate to use this word, but finish the story here. But this is a dang good soap opera that we have been watching for the last year. And of course, this is how you do it in a soap opera is you have somebody bang their head and they remember everything that happened to them. And they just realize that the person they were in the ring with was the person who did it. And now they want revenge.
I'm excited. I can't wait for the match. Mariah May, I just wanted to say too, like, she's had some incredible like backstage promo segments, and I loved the in-ring live segment. She's just every facet she's got down.
You know, for being somebody that a lot of Cleveland wrestling fans didn't know until she got to AEW, she is freaking a five-tool player. I mean, there's no weakness there. She is definitely going to be a centerpiece at AEW moving forward, and it's a good thing that they got her signed up because if Triple H or Regal got noticed her and went, oh, wait a minute, she's free, WWE would stop her up.
Yeah, definitely. And she needs to be like a top person. This work has been too good to kind of be pushed to the side afterward.
So we get everybody's favorite heavy metal. I want to say this. I'll say it this way. If you like big dudes who just going to pound on each other for a wrestling match, this is your match. It's the Gates of Agony versus the Hounds of Hell. And I know a lot of people probably wish the Gates of Agony got a victory here, but we're trying to establish the Hounds of Hell and the trio without Black. They need this victory to start the story here as we get away from the House of Black. The Gates of Agony, they look good in this match. They'll carry on in Ring of Honor. They'll be fine.
True. But I mean, we were just talking about AEW's tag division kind of needing a reset. Gates of Agony and Hounds of Hell are two teams I want to see on this roster with this reset. I think the Gates of Agony have done some really good work in Ring of Honor. I think they've become a lot more cohesive than they were when we first saw them. I think they have put in the work. You can see how like in shape like Toa Leona has gotten over the past couple of months. He looks great. They have a great presence. I think we got to give them some latitude here to cut some promos and see what their interaction with the fan base is like.
Oh, could you imagine the Gates of Agony versus the Hurt Syndicate?
Bring that on.
There's another matchup we need.
Yes.
Bobby Lashley versus the two Gates of Agony guys. Dude, that would just be a stare down of the immovable object versus the irresistible force. Who's going to freaking win?
Yeah, and like they're two young guys. They have so much potential. Like I said, they don't have much interaction with the crowd time. See how the crowd reacts to them. Let them cut some promos, kind of gauge a reaction, and let's start pushing them into the picture here in AEW.
True. So we go over to our 4-way match for a shot at the TBS Championship this coming Wednesday on Dynamite. And this was a surprising victory here because if you told me Yuta Sadasada was going to be your victor in this 4-way match, I probably would have lost some money.
Yeah, I don't doubt Yuka Sakazaki for any reason. I kind of thought maybe we might see that Serena Deeb Mercedes Moné match that I feel like we're teasing when Mercedes Moné was about to debut, but I'm not going to complain about Yuka Sakazaki.
See, I was kind of thinking we need a babyface. Okay, it's going to be Queen Aniana. That's who we're going to get here. I was surprised that we didn't get Queen Aniana, and I'm surprised that Deonna Purrazzo wasn't one that took the pin.
Very surprised, honestly. I would kind of like to see them do a little more of a bit of a prominent presence with the Vendetta. They haven't really appeared so much since forming on like Collision and Dynamite, and when they do, it's usually Taya taking a loss. So to see Deonna take a loss too, I think kind of hurts. So I want to see them have a little bit more of a prominent spot and pick up a couple of wins here.
Very true. So we get to the main event of Collision, and it's Takeshita versus Shibata. And Jethro Florida, I dislike you a lot right now because dang, I want this match to be in Knoxville.
I wanted this match to be here, and they were nowhere near me. This was a fantastic main event.
It was, and who knew that Takeshita and Shibata had never had a one-on-one match? And after this one, I want this run back. We needed the second one of these matches.
Yeah, definitely, and soon, please.
And Takeshita wins kind of cleanless. I mean, Don Callis did come down there towards the end, did grab Shibata's leg there at the end for a little distraction. But this was a good showcase for the young talent that is Takeshita, the future of the company. And like I said, I think our big bold predictions, Takeshita is going to be world champion here in no time soon.
Genuinely, if I was booking, he would be in the title picture right now. I do also want to quickly mention the Don Callis family segment that we saw tonight too. All the members of the Don Callis family at a table. Don Callis comes down, gives like a big speech to join them, and then mentions the five of us. And they kind of like it just shows like Don Callis looking directly at the camera. Who do you think's number 5 here? Is Trent coming back? Is it going to be like somebody like Trent? Like, it feels like I love Trent, but it feels like a very big thing if they're putting Trent in that position.
You know, I really don't have a guess on who the next member is, but this was shot like the best mob movie ever.
There's so many mob groups right now. What is going on?
Honestly, Don Callis' house comes out of a James Bond movie. He just had this fade into this big stone structure that is a mansion. And here comes Don Callis down like any evil villain down the staircase. And he has the eagle hitsmen around his table, and he's just conducting business. And he's putting over Kenny Omega and going like, guys, we need to take care of Kenny Omega. We can't let Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega join forces because we don't want to face this? And then Brian Cage goes like, look, dude, there's 2 of them, there's 5 of us. And Callis is going like, this isn't the same Kenny Omega that you saw like last year before he went away with the injury. This is a Kenny Omega who doesn't care. This is a Kenny Omega out for blood. And he wants my blood. And of course, to get to me, he's going to bleed all you guys too.
Yeah, Don Callis, he's unfortunately amazing. He's so good. It's like so unfortunate. I'm curious. I'm wondering if it's maybe somebody from Ospreay and Omega's past. Like I said, like I love Trent, but if they're reintroducing Trent into the Don Callis family, this feels a little too big for that.
Oh, I got an idea now. Something just hit my head. Jeff Cobb.
Oh, don't put that idea in my head because now I want it.
Hey, look.
Oh my,
look
could you imagine a team with Brian Cage, Jeff Cobb, and Lance Archer? You just let them pin you. You gotta just do the thing where you just go, okay, and you lay down like finger poke of doom style.
the forever AEW Trios champions.
Because who would challenge them? It's too scary.
But look, you see the members of the Don Callis family, okay? You have Brian Cage, you have Lance Archer, you have your high flyer in Kyle Fletcher, okay? And you have your heavy hitter in Takeshita. Jeff Cobb fits right into this picture, and I gotta,
teases.
There's been teases. And I feel like you need somebody from either Ospreay's or Omega's past to be this next member to carry the story on a little bit longer. And like you said, it's a little too big for being Trent. I think it's a little too big to be Mark Davis. So why not do Jeff Cobb?
I love that. Oh, I'm genuinely terrified by the thought of like Cage and Cobb in the ring together.
Oh, this lined us up with the Hurt Syndicate. We have another match that we need now.
Oh my god, that we got Hobbs, we got Brody, we got Big Bill getting all pushed. Like, man, AEW is finally doing some stuff with the big guys.
They are quickly becoming the land of the giants. So we're moving on to our stunning 6 questions. We have looked over the week in AEW wrestling, and these are the 6 questions that we are left pondering after seeing both AEW Dynamite and Collision. And I'm starting off with stunning question number 1. And my first question is it time for Tony Khan to start cut bait with who he doesn't want to use on AEW TV? Because it's been reported that Ricky Stark yet again has asked for his release and Tony Khan turned him down. We have the situation with Britt Baker where it's been reported that she's on her way out of AEW, but then Damon also reported that she has a number of years on her contract. So who knows? So Ashlee, is it time to Tony to step back and go like, hey, I just need to let people go wherever they want to and just use who I have and who I want?
This is kind of a double-edged sword. I do think he does. But I want people like Ricky Starks, like Miro, people who have asked for their release that we know don't want to be there right now for any reason. I want him to work it out with these people, either get it fixed and you work something out. Hey, you know what? If you want to leave, can we work on a plan for you to get you back on TV? Can we do something? Is there something we can do? If there's no wiggle room, if there's no working around it, let them go. You're not doing anything with them, and you're kind of becoming the thing you swore you wouldn't become if you're going to hang on to them.
Exactly, because AEW was going to be the land where it was different. It was going to be like the big corporation up north. We're going to be one big happy family, and it lasted for a little bit. Now it seems it's transformed into a business, and my feeling with Tony is going like, you have this group of people that you signed that you had ideas for. And granted, things fall apart all the time, and people have working relationships, and sometimes for a while it's good, and you hit a bumpy road and it's hard to get it back to where it should be. That's when you cut bait, because you don't want to go to work every day with a group of people that you don't want to be around. And if this is a group of people that ain't happy with being in your company, I would rather have that cash back in my coffers where I can go look for new talent and spend it on them.
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of what the point of this is, right? Contracts coming up, people choosing what's best for them. I just don't. I feel like I don't. If they don't want to be there to help AEW grow, why would you want them there? You're
Exactly.
still in such a delicate phase in your at your point of owning this company. Don't let anything negative that's simply like you can just cut ties with and not have that negativity, like don't let that ruin things.
Granted, I mean, I feel like he's past the point of no return where it's going to have no damage effects to him in AEW. Because I feel like if he just would have operated from day one with the fact that we'll have these guys around for a while, we'll use them, and once they decide that they don't want to be here, I don't have plans for them, I'll let them go. So then they can go tell their friends like, "Hey, you know what? I had a good time at AEW. Yeah, it didn't work out totally, but they were on the up and up." So when you go into talking with new free agents, there's not this cloud over your company and you as a person.
Right. And like I said, like you swore up and down, like this wouldn't you wouldn't be the competition, you wouldn't do the same things. Don't do the same things. It's very simple. Like I said, work it out. We talked about like the Ray Phoenix situation a few weeks ago. Work it out, smooth it over, and be like, all right, listen, we'll let you go. No hard feelings. If anything doesn't work out, you have my number.
Exactly. That's the way it should be. So,
Exactly. It's a silly thing to not just like I said, cut ties with the negativity.
well, we're moving on to study question number two. It kind of slides into my first question. And I'm saying, what do we want for the future of Britt Baker? Because it seems like it's not going to be AEW for now. She may be away for a while, then they circle back around. They can work together to do something. But I'm opening this up. If we're able to pick Baker up and put her somewhere else, what do you want the future for Britt to be?
Well, before I talk about like her in-ring future, I just want to say I've always liked Britt. We've always talked about her. I've always supported her and everything. I feel like where there's some smoke though, there's a little bit of fire. This isn't the first time we've heard some issues with her in the backstage and like her attitude and stuff like that. If she's standing up for herself, that's one thing, and I'm not going to get into it too much. But this new situation has been really weird, and I just hope that outside of wrestling and outside of everything, that Britt's okay. She's been dealing with a lot of weird harassment online, a lot of weird parasocial stuff from both dirt sheet people and fans alike. She's had a lot of the medical issues that she's dealt with recently, along with the breakup with Adam Cole and everything, and still dealing with everybody kind of shitting on her online. I just feel like she's dealing with a lot, and there's a bit of pushback and a bit of attitude because of everything going on. So I just hope she's good. Everybody's dealing with stuff, so I hope she's just getting the help she needs. Outside of that, if things really are done with AEW, I don't know. I would like maybe TNA. I mean NXT maybe I think would take her just because of what that could mean. Signing Britt Baker in AEW Original. I feel like that could be like a big get. But I could see her really benefiting maybe from a system like NXT.
Okay. I agree with you with TNA or NXT. I feel like the main roster women's division right now is top heavy. I don't think Raw or SmackDown has a slot for Britt Baker. I feel like the WWE would sign her if they had the capability to do it. I mean, yeah. And going back to this thing about her being hard to work with, we're hearing that from sources within the company who haven't put their names to it. And it kind of reminds me when I was in college and I would have people tell me, this professor is really hard and they grade hard. They're just tough on everybody. And that would be the person I would go seek out to take a class with, because to me, it seems to me it just signals that that person really cares about what they're doing. And I want to gain knowledge, you needed to go through a little hardship. Now, granted, there's a point where that care for your position, your spot, comes in conflict with doing business and taking care of the company that you work for. You need to find that happy medium, and that's always a difficult thing to do. That's always a moving goalpost. Like you, I just wish Britt Baker all the well. I hope she's healthy. She's as happy as she can be. And this gets straightened out because honestly, the AEW Women's Division needs Britt back. I feel like she would do better there because the WWE Women's Division, NXT, and the main roster is so stacked. You literally slide it back into the same issue of TV time. So that's
It's
why
very true. And I mean, like I said, like maybe that's why I threw TNA out there too, because it feels like TNA on the verge of losing some of their top name women's talents will have some space, maybe some time to put her on TV, on their shows more often. I don't know, but like I said, I hope she's good. I I want to see her come back to AEW and kind of move past these issues. But we'll just have to, I guess, wait and see to see where she's at when she, I guess, makes her decision on where she is.
exactly. We'll keep you updated this as we go forward here on All Elite Radio. On to my third setting question. And this came out of AEW Dynamite when I saw this match live. Did AEW do enough with Private Party when they had the titles? Because I honestly can tell you, they felt like a cold transitional champion walking down the ring in Knoxville because the crowd was chanting for Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley could be a adopted son of Knoxville. That's how over this group was. And here's your tag team champions coming down the ring. And we only did the shots. And after that, they got a little reaction, but it was basically a Hurt Syndicate crowd going like, one more time when you see these guys throwing both members of Private Party into everything not nailed down in Knoxville.
Yeah, I'm gonna say short answer. Yes, they did not do enough. Um, I had read a report a few months ago that the call to put the belts on Private Party was sort of a last minute decision, and it like that report seems to be proven more and more true now in hindsight and after the fact. um, I don't like how Private Party was done here. I just hope this isn't a sign.
I think it's going to be them stepping back down a couple of levels to mean that, oh, they're the cool babyface tag team that we can slide into a match against our heel champions when we need the heel champions to look good. And they're not named Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin because Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley are fine by themselves. They can have a match with a broomstick and probably make it entertaining.
Yeah, it sucks because this is one of those things that like this is kind of just on Tony Khan. It's not even bad booking. It's just that there was like no booking. Like he didn't really do anything with these guys after they won the titles.
Exactly. It's a problem that we've seen through the course of AEW that we always talk about. They get the talent from the company up north. They push that talent while they don't really try put the muscle behind the homegrown talent. And really, Private Party would be homegrown talent if you push them. And here in Knoxville, it was Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, Adam Copeland. What do all three of them have in common? Oh, they work for the other company. And we all knew them from that company. And that's why they were getting cheered.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly doesn't, does not like it's not a factor. Um, and I will say AEW has done its best work when focusing on its up and coming talent and using these talents as sort of an enhancement or like a counterpart to what they have going on. So feels like something that Tony Khan needs to take a long, hard look at.
Honestly, I feel like it's also a signal that the people going to AEW Dynamite, especially if it's not Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, the true kind of home basis for AEW, you're getting a more general wrestling diverse wrestling group in your building. Because I had a young kid behind me a row or two, and he was literally talking about, oh, I remember Edge when he was in WWE. He was chanting for Bobby Lashley because he was from WWE. So you have this problem, and we're still 5 years into the company here, and we're still dealing with the same problem.
Yeah, and like I said, they do their best work when they're focusing on these people, so they gotta just start kind of putting the chips where they are most important.
Very true. Now we're going to move on to our next standing question. As at the start of Dynamite, we had Will Ospreay come out to have a discussion with Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega brought up to Ospreay that, oh, you remember the last time that we were in this ring together? You tried to hit me with a screwdriver. Now you want me to be buddies and team up with you? No thanks. I'm good.
Yeah, no, I loved this. I thought AEW kind of killed their segments this week, and this one was a great in-ring one with the action. I'm excited to see Omega and Ospreay team up here.
This is the new AEW Dream Team that we never knew we needed until after this segment, and I'm looking at them standing on that little structure there that was holding up the lights, and them calling out Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher, and I'm going like, we need this damn match. And I love to see Ospreay and Omega win in Australia. I got a funny feeling that this is going to be a victory for Kyle Fletcher, and we'll see the introduction of the fifth member to the Don Callis family, and this is how we continue this feud.
That's very much a possibility. I like you said, I don't see Kyle Fletcher losing in Australia with the way he's been being pushed this year. I'm very excited, and Don Callis, even though we hate him, giving us a reason to love him, bringing Ospreay and Omega together.
You know what? Knoxville is ready for it. Knoxville wanted that to be the main event of this show. That's how much we were into this opening segment.
It was very good. It was a lot of cool camera shots with this one, and I can't wait for Ospreay to be world champion too, honestly. Like his energy, the promos he cuts, he gets so like into it. He's so like passionate and fiery. Like I can't wait to see this guy when he's on top.
True. And what I don't want is them trying to go after the AEW Tag Team Championships after they get done with the Don Callis family. And we go down the storyline, can they coexist? Because we know we're getting to another Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay match sometime in 2025, 2026. But let's just enjoy the Dream Team while we have it.
Yeah, and I don't need a messy breakup. They just come together. They can beat the crap out of the Don Callis family and then go about whatever business they have until they gotta fight again.
Exactly. So we're moving on to my fifth standing question. And I've seen a lot of backlash to Jeff Jarrett getting this spot here versus MJF. And a lot of people online are going like, why is Jeff Jarrett getting this feud with MJF? And I'm going like, because MJF can't be in the title picture right now, and you need MJF to keep his heat. And why not have him face Jeff Jarrett? Because if Jeff Jarrett takes the L here in this feud, it doesn't hurt Jeff Jarrett. And dude, Jeff Jarrett is on fire in these promos since halfway through 2024 and rolling into Knoxville. Like he said, driving down I-40 coming to Knoxville, he was on fire. He was ready to get MJF and take him behind the woodshed, like we say here in Tennessee.
Yeah, honestly, you're not gonna find me complaining about Jeff Jarrett too much. I think it's a way to keep MJF, like you said, away from the title, but sort of tangentially in the title picture, like by virtue of somebody else right now. I mean, guys, like, calm down. Jeff Jarrett's not gonna win. Like, he's he might get like a win over MJF if like that sort of thing happens, but it's not gonna be for anything, you know. Like, it's I like MJF feuding with this type of guy because to me he is this guy, like this throwback to like older days of wrestling. So it it's kind of just like a perfect match in my mind.
True. And when Jeff Jarrett was cutting his promo on Dynamite, I was literally looking up the ramp going like, okay, I'm waiting for MJF to walk down here, cut him off, and we get started here with this interaction with these two guys. And this time they kept it separate where Jeff had his promo in the first hour of Dynamite. Then we see MJF come out later and cut his promo, and there's no interaction with the two of them, which is fine because we've seen it the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm I'm waiting to see where we go from here because I thought this past week was a lot better. I liked Karen kind of coming in and talking with Jeff and being like, you let him get under your skin. Like, you let him get to you and you let him make you say things like you wouldn't say. Like, don't let him get to you like that. Like, I like seeing like these outside factors kind of come in and also be involved.
True, true. Because I feel like she was there to remind Jeff, like, look, this is a younger version of you. What you have here is you have the experience that MJF doesn't have. You don't need to be playing his game. Let him come into your world.
Yeah. And MJF, sometimes this pays off for him and sometimes it backfires. So
Okay, so we're at the sixth and final study question. As we leave this week in AEW TV, Ashley, who should be the gentleman to dethrone John Moxley? Because Will Hobbs had a great week and a half. I still feel like he's strong. He's cycled off of the Moxley match. Now he's dealing with Big Bill, and they killed it on Collision tonight. But at the end of the day, who is the person that gets the AEW World Title? Because after Dynamite, Adam Copeland got on the mic and go like, the next time we see you in Knoxville, Adam Copeland's going to be your AEW World Champion. I'm looking there going like, I mean, I like you, Cope, but I don't want you to be the person to dethrone John Moxley.
I don't think he will be. It's tough because we talked about it a few weeks ago and it truly felt like it was supposed to be Darby. And now with Darby going to climb Mount Everest, there's genuinely a chance he might not come back. And like, that's scary enough. And I don't know. I don't know. I feel like maybe that's why we shifted into like a Jeff Jarrett Cope situation for right now. It feels like two guys at experience can kind of tide Mox over for now. But it's tough because, like I said, like Team AEW kind of disintegrated when Darby left. I'd like it to be one of the original guys we saw fighting Mox, whether it's Jay White, whether it's Hangman, whether it's Orange Cassidy. I would not mind Hobbs. Like you said, though, he's kind of branched off into this learning tree and Big Bill feud. Bring it back around to Ospreay after the Omega stuff. Let them have their match in Australia, finish that up. Push Will as the leader of Team AEW. Darby was trying to bring him in beforehand.
Okay, Ashley, do you feel like the Death Riders have lost steam here? Or do we still have some time that we can play with the Death Riders and let them run amok? Have they got to the point where they're like the NWO and they are now the cool heels and nobody wants to see them lose?
I will say I do feel like they've lost a little steam. But for me, personally, like, to me, it's they started this group in October in Wrestle Dream. They turned on Danielson. They put this group together, and they almost immediately cut a promo, kind of hinting that there was like a puppet master behind the scenes, like that was the reason this group came together, was the reason this stuff had to happen in AEW. They've sort of like gotten away from that, which is fine. I don't mind it, but they still sort of sometimes feel like they're dropping hints that there's somebody behind the scenes that we haven't seen yet, but we're not getting any real explanations. I understand that's probably Mox's way, but like why did Marina Shafir join the group? Why did Pac, who had issues with both Mox and Claudio, decide to join them? You know, like I want to know. And it's been almost 4 months and we haven't gotten really any answers in any sort of capacity from anyone in the Death Riders, which is weird because like it's a heel thing. They don't owe us any answers. But if you're telling a story with these guys, there has to be a story, you know?
I wonder if they weren't able to get the person they wanted to be the puppet master. Maybe there was somebody they couldn't get to bring into AEW. And they kind of dropped that, and they just dropped that part of the story because I was going like, who could it be? Because I mean, like Regal got signed with WWE, he went back that way because Regal would have been the person to be the puppet master because it would make sense because he created.
It was such like, to me, it was such like a cool idea at first because like when you think of Moxley, you think, oh, he's just a badass. He does his own thing. He doesn't take from anybody, you know, like who is such an influence that they would have had Mox's ear in this way. And it was something that they kind of just dropped. And to me, it's like, that's so disappointing because that's interesting. Like who had that kind of like, kind of pull on Moxley that they could make him feel this way about a company that he joined because he wanted to like love professional wrestling again.
And I mean, like at the beginning of this, we could have easily slid Nigel McGuinness into that role and Nigel being the puppet master because we start with attacking Bryan Danielson. And who has the biggest axe to grind against Bryan Danielson? But I don't know, Nigel.
Right. But even Nigel seemed taken aback by everything that happened. Like I said, I would just like some more of like an explanation. And I think one other thing that sort of really hurt this storyline was like Mox declared war on AEW. And it only really seemed to matter to like 4 people. Like the rest of the roster just went like, this is something that I feel like everybody shouldn't have had an opinion on. Everybody should have had to take a side, you know, like it should have felt like everybody was involved in this. And it kind of felt like only Orange Cassidy and like Will Ospreay sort of cared about it at first. And then like DG, but like Garcia's even been kind of like kind of just back doing the TNT title pictures thing again. So he's not even involved in this anymore.
I know it kind of started out with, it felt like if you were watching TNA back in the day, it was the front line versus the main event mafia. And it kind of evolved now where it's not like that no more. It's not the mid card of AEW battling John Moxley and his crew. We elevated this up to more of the upper mid card to the main event scene versus John Moxley. And now we're just like treading water as we're waiting to see exactly who's the person to move the belt over to John Moxley, because eventually somebody needs to dethrone him to end this heel run. And this heel fashion was started at the same time the Elite became heels. So we had all heels running loose in AEW.
Yeah, and I still need an explanation from the Bucks too, because like they had all those run-ins with the Death Riders right before they were off TV, shredding papers and stuff in their office, and we still haven't gotten any sort of follow-up from any of this. And sometimes AEW does this. Like I understand letting it air out, but it's been like a month. You have to like remind people it happened.
Well, we'll just have to put a pin in that for now and see how this goes forward here as we head towards AEW Revolution In March, we have AEW Grand Slam Australia coming up in about 3 weeks. We'll see how things go. Ashlee, where can we find you on the Super Information Superhighway?
So I'm always posting live with the AEW shows on Blue Sky, and that's at groovyash.bsky.social.
And you can follow this show on X/Twitter at All Elite Radio. You can catch previous episodes on www.alleliteradio.com or find us on YouTube, type in All Elite Radio. And you can even check the back catalog of the Radio Free Pro Wrestling still on our YouTube channel. So until we see you next time on All Elite Radio, have a great start to your week. Remember, we are top podcasters. Guns up.